Andre, you recently bought something very special, very unique, and something that I think everybody wants to talk about, including me, because I want to grill you about this Ford F-150 that you bought.
Nathan, but I thought we were friends. Why would you grill me?
I'm going to make it public too, because I want to find out why he chose this truck over other trucks and why he chose this trim over other trims.
Okay, so should I say what I bought?
Yeah. I'm going to stop and then reset.
Okay, all right. So this was a long time coming, by the way.
Okay.
If you've been watching TFL Truck and seeing our website, I think I've been talking about getting a new truck for about 8 years.
Yeah, about that.
And of course, I mean, I had like a Chevy Duramax before that. Then I purchased a Hummer H2 that the company had, here at TFL. And then finally, and this was crazy, dude. In about July, I checked my records. It was July 22nd, I believe, where I ordered or pre-ordered the F-150.
Right.
This is a 2021, the new generation of the truck. And back in July, this was before some of the specs were released.
Right.
But I kind of knew that they had, the new special powertrain, which was going to be the hybrid.
Right.
I knew that, and I knew that I wanted to try out a new brand, because I've had Chevys for a while, GM trucks. I've had, we've had the Ram Rebel before and the Chevy Trail Boss before that, and I just wanted to switch brand, and I chose a Ford.
Okay.
Thank you for joining TFL Talking Trucks podcast. If you love pickup trucks or big full-size SUVs, if you love trailering, towing, and going off-road, this is the right place to be. Together we can make this podcast the most popular ever.
So let's recap, okay, because we have to make sure everybody understands this. Now, Andre bought a 2021 Ford F-150 hybrid, but it's the XL model. Unlike the model that we had before, now we did have a hybrid, but it was the fully loaded
limited truck,
which was ridiculously expensive and packed with everything. Andre pretty much did the opposite, but he kept the same powertrain. And I'm very curious about the process that led up to this, but I'm also curious to why he decided to get this truck. Now, before we go any further, I have to say that when we got the hybrid and we were testing it, Andre was like a chimpanzee on Red Bull. He was all over the thing, definitely caressing it from time to time. So I could tell he fell in love with the truck right when we got it. Now, take it from here.
Wow. Well, okay, so this is my personal truck now. So I did not have an unlimited budget.
No.
Right, my budget was very limited. And I also had to convince my wife and my family that this was a good idea.
Yeah.
So this was also a very difficult decision. But what was kind of my turning point, right, with my wife, is that the fuel efficiency. She cared a lot about fuel efficiency, and I said, well, honey, this new hybrid could potentially do well. Remember, this is before the EPA ratings came out. Right. So, and she's kind of into electrification.
Right.
She finally agreed. So that was the first win.
Okay.
Right? So the second win was, or the second thing I did was, I wanted like one of the more affordable trucks. Yes, I love the technology. I love massaging seats, I love reclining seats where I can sleep in my truck. But no, I wanted to keep it as affordable as possible because all prices are growing. Right, and I couldn't afford an $82,000 truck.
Right.
So XL, that's where I kind of zoomed in on the XL, which is the base truck. But then Ford actually offers a variety of powertrains, which not many other manufacturers actually do.
No, well, nobody has this type of powertrain really available. And there are other hybrids out there, technically speaking. I mean, if you look at the e-torque system, whatever that is on Ram, but this is, a serious hybrid system, something that impressed everybody when it came to the studio. So explain how this system works.
Yeah, so this is called a full hybrid.
Right.
What does that mean? That means the vehicle, in this case the truck, is able to drive on the electricity alone, be it very limited distances,
at
right?
Slow speeds.
And slower speeds. But I've now lived with the truck for a week, so now I've been, this is my truck, so I've been super critical, right?
Right.
And I'm watching every millimeter and everything it's doing, right? So all this stuff. I drove home last night from the office, which was about 23 miles approximately, 24 miles. And the truck gives you like a report when you shut it down. After you get to your destination,
Right.
gives you a little report on how you did. And it said 24 miles approximately, and about 6 miles, I think it was 5.8 miles electric.
Wow.
So if you think about it, if you calculate, it's about 24%, which kind of blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, this is like 24% of my trip was done on electricity alone.
So I'm guessing that the 24% that it's calculating is based on stop and go traffic.
Yes.
Because, for those of you who don't know, Andre, and I both live pretty fair distance away from the office. And as such, we have to do a lot of highway routes and whatnot, but there's also some stop and go traffic involved.
Yeah, and this trip was really, I would say my average speed was about 35 to 40. So judging by the time it took me to do this, which was about 40 minutes, yes, so there's some stop and go.
Right.
And how the system works, it has regen braking, right? So you're regaining some energy on the way when you're slowing down.
Right.
There's also some gentle hills. So when you're going downhill, once again, you're kind of recouping some of the energy.
Right. When you take your foot off the accelerator, then it will lightly clamp down and get a little bit of energy back. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's basically using the electric motor in those beginning stages, right? And the electric motor in this case is sandwiched between the engine, which is a twin turbo V6.
Right. It's the big one too.
Yeah, it's the EcoBoost. And the electric motor is between the engine and the 10-speed automatic. So it's kind of a sandwich inside of it. And other manufacturers have used similar systems before. But this one is able to regen some energy, obviously using the electric motor. And then, of course, it does have brakes, of course. And then, and it can actually, I can see the tachometer go to 0. For example, when I'm coasting, sometimes when I'm accelerating too.
So that shuts the engine off completely.
Yes.
And then it can start basically at the drop of a dime when it needs to. Boom, you're running again, especially when you need extra power.
Yeah, but it's not like a plug-in hybrid would be. It's not like you can drive for 30 miles with pure electric, drive. This is not it. And even if you ask for like 20% throttle, if you want to have a more brisk acceleration, boom, the engine comes on immediately. Because it says, okay, the electric motor is there, but it's not powerful enough for me to give you full acceleration. So I got to kick on the engine and actually go.
How big's the battery in this?
This is 1.5 kilowatt hours.
Okay.
And I haven't really found it yet. I think it's hidden somewhere between the cab and kind of the frame of the truck. But it's all, it's not really supposed to be like, I'm not supposed to service it or anything. It's just
right.
there.
You're supposed to leave it alone. Well, a majority of the components are pretty much underneath the in between the frame rails, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's not intruding into the cab.
Right.
Because I was a little bit worried, are they going to put the battery underneath the seat?
Right.
In which case, I'm losing storage, right?
Now, there's an interesting thing about your truck. Unlike the one that we had, the really, really loaded one, your truck, because it's an XL, has bench seats front and rear, right?
Yeah, so I have a folding front seat, so I can put 3 people in the front, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is.
Actually. And actually put my son. My son is 10 years old, so he's not super tall, obviously, yet. He was able to sit in the front middle pretty comfortably.
Right. Old school, for those of you who don't remember those days when cars had bench seats and whatnot, and you could put 3 in the front and 3 in the back.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what Andre's managed to do, which is great because once he got rid of his Hummer, he didn't really have a high-capacity vehicle for people.
Now so now I can bring 6 people with me,
right,
and stuff because I have the full bed, right?
Right. Now that reminds me, now this vehicle, obviously, if you go higher in the trim level and you start adding stuff to the truck, more and more crap, you lose capacity, right? So big wheels and all the extra stuff that you could put inside, your capacity does drop. What is your capacity given the fact that your vehicle is pretty much a base model?
Yeah, well, I do have a couple options, and that's next. But my payload rating for this truck, this is a 4-wheel drive crew cab with a short bed, 1,700 pounds.
Okay.
Which is not bad, actually.
Yeah, it's right up there in the averages.
Yeah, the battery obviously takes away a little bit of that weight. Also, the electric motor is not free,
Right. It takes weight.
It costs money, and it obviously weighs something. So, like I said, I set out to build kind of the most affordable hybrid, but in the end, dude, it was over 50 grand. Yeah. So let me just kind of explain how I got there.
Okay, please.
So really quickly. So I knew I wanted a four-wheel drive truck, obviously. That costs money.
Right.
Crew cab, I needed for the family.
Right.
So I knew that cost money. But currently the hybrid is only available as a crew cab. So I had no choice. So I had to get a crew cab, which is great. Then I wanted FX4. Why FX4?
Lock-in rear diff?
Yes, that was a huge one. And also skid plates. It also comes with tires. And I was kind of surprised. I couldn't actually choose a tire when I was ordering the truck.
Right.
But it showed up with Pirellis on it.
Yeah, those Scorpions, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's kind of...
It's kind of cool, actually.
It's kind of cool.
Better than I thought it would be in some off name that, you didn't,
Yeah, so it's ATRs. It's a new tire. It was developed specifically for the F-150.
Right.
They're called Scorpion ATRs. And it was -8 a couple days ago, Fahrenheit. Very cold, very snowy. And they did actually pretty well on snow and ice.
Yeah, they seem so far to be. We did a shoot just a few hours ago. We were on a snowy embankment. You didn't seem to have any problems with the traction.
Yeah, so this is a cool tire because it's also pretty quiet, but unfortunately, it looks a little bit small on the truck, right? When you come up to the truck,
Well, you got tiny wheels on that thing, don't you?
it also has 17-inch steelies. So the steel wheels are there. So I had to spend money on the four-wheel drive system. FX4 package cost me another $1,000.
Okay.
And that also includes drive modes with the rock crawl mode.
Oh, okay.
Which is, not a huge deal, but it's kind of cool to say, my truck has rock crawl mode, right? Like the big Super Duty Tremor and, the other trucks. So that's there. Then I wanted towing. You know me.
Well, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, I had to tow. We have a ski boat that we carry around with us behind us.
Just for you guys out there, Andre is one of the few people in the universe who actually uses his boat as often as he humanly can.
Yes, and we're in Colorado, which means we have very little water. So I have to take my boat from lake to lake to lake to lake to lake.
Some long distance. Not only that, but you have family in other states, and you visit them annually, well, with the exception of COVID. And so you're going to be doing a lot of driving, so you need long range and towing ability.
Yeah, which is this truck could offer and does offer. So I did a towing package, and I chose towing mirrors, the giant ones.
Right.
Which is cool. And these towing mirrors are actually kind of carryover design from the previous truck. And I always liked this mirror. And then I'm kind of a tech geek, right?
Well,
so you know me. So I was looking at the order sheet, and I said, well, you know what? I kind of want the latest sync system because I don't want to deal with it.
Is that Sync 4 then?
Sync 4, yeah.
Okay.
I wanted the latest sync, and there was an option for that. And then I wanted Copilot 360, which is kind of the driver assistance package.
That's lane keep assist and a few other things, right?
Blind spot monitor.
Radar, cruise control.
Well, no, it does not have that. No.
Really?
So you have to step up to other models.
Oh, right.
Although it does have that camera that points forward,
right,
and actually sees the highway, and it won't drive itself. This one won't do that.
It won't brake.
Right.
What about brake assist and some stuff like that?
You know what? I think it has collision, like avoidance alert system, but I haven't obviously kind of.
I'm happy to test that for you.
I'm not going to test that quite yet.
Okay.
The truck has only 190 miles on it.
So far.
Yes. So I spent money on that. Like the towing package was another $1,000.
Right.
The 360.
What is your towing capacity then?
So I did not choose the max tow package, which kind of gives you heavier springs, right? So as it is, it's 11,000 pounds.
Well, that's more than, you're towing what, 5?
I'm towing about 6.
6,000
Yeah,
pounds?
so 11,000 pounds was more than enough for my needs and what I'm doing. And also, that's more than enough already have done, I would say.
Well, yeah, I would say so. And,
Yeah.
that is, the numbers are really high. So continue going, and then I have some questions about why you bought this truck.
Okay, so the final thing, before we get to more accessories and options, was the power, right? That was also a big positive that kind of helped me decide. 430 horsepower and 570 pound-feet of torque.
Which makes it more powerful than any other F-150
on torque. Yes.
Out there.
And you actually had the opportunity. You raced the Raptor in the other limited truck we had.
Right. We have a video on that, and the hybrid did extremely well.
So, and I knew when I saw that, I wasn't there, by the way, I wanted to be,
Sorry.
but I wasn't there, unfortunately. But when I saw that, you and Roman were racing each other, and I saw how quick that hybrid was, and that was very heavy truck, because it had the sunroof,
And the seats.
everything else.
Yeah.
So I was like, if my truck is lighter, which it is,
Mm-hmm.
by about 400 pounds, this truck weighs about 5,600 pounds at the curb.
Mm-hmm.
It could be faster.
It should be, actually.
So yeah, so I haven't tested it yet. Obviously, I'm still kind of in the break-in period. You know?
Yeah, you don't want to push it until you break it in a little bit. I get it.
So, and I haven't towed obviously because once again break-in period. So that's all good stuff. So I don't know. So far, the experience has been pretty good. I got it at Brighton Ford, Colorado. And they gave me a small deal, but it's already a basic truck, so I couldn't get those giant discounts.
Right.
You know, so that a lot of people say, "Oh,
But there was no markup or anything like that.
no,
right?
no markup on this truck."
That's really important to know because there are a lot of other guys out there who do mark up these trucks. So especially because the hybrid is such a new truck for Ford.
Yeah,
Right.
and I've seen a couple of other hybrids on the lot, so they're starting to arrive. This is not the first one, obviously,
Right.
But it was unique because it was a base model. Most of the other ones I saw were
probably
like Lariats or XLTs or King Ranches.
60, 70, 80,000 dollars.
Yeah, those are
right.
huge trucks and huge prices.
Do you have the in-bed plugs and all that stuff like the other one did?
Yes, I did.
Ooh.
So that was $750. Just to get that most powerful inverter system.
Right.
And that was another thing that
There's
remember-
two different inverters that are available. Am I
on the
correct?
hybrid, right?
Yeah.
It's I think it's a 2.4 kilowatt and 7.2, and you know I checked the box for a $750 option, which was the bigger inverter, because I wanted to play around with it.
Well, of course you did.
Yeah,
I mean, the idea of you having the smaller inverter, which means you cannot power as much stuff and everything else, for $750, I mean, it's
kind of a good deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
because if you didn't have that, you would have to bring another generator with you.
well, yeah.
Why
but-
would you do that? Yeah, so that was cool.
So now you'll be able to go with Mr. Truck out to the middle of the woods, and you guys won't have to worry about a generator making a ton of noise, which his motor or his
Which was
trailer,
what we used to do.
Yeah, which that thing made it so much noise. Everybody within 2 miles would like be awake at 3 in the
Yeah.
morning. So now you won't have to worry about that. But you also have extreme range with this truck. It's even lighter than the one that we had before, so it's entirely possible that the range could even be greater. And I believe they said between 500 and 700 mile range. Am I correct?
That's right. But so first of all, it's been very cold. When I got into the truck, when I first purchased it, it was full. The tank was full, and it said about 450 miles. But once again, this truck was brand new. It was -7.
Yeah.
So the truck was confused, you know, it didn't know what the heck was going on. But now, as I'm driving it, and I said about 190 miles already I drove, the range seems to be staying up. So I think it has a capability of actually having a really long range. It has a 30-gallon fuel tank.
That's pretty good size.
And 24 mpg, which is the EPA rating.
Right.
I'm hoping I can beat that EPA rating, I think I could.
Once you break it in, I'm willing to bet you'll be able to get close at the very least. Now I need to ask the question that some of the other guys out there who are not Ford fans want to know.
Yes.
Why didn't you choose other trucks? Specifically, I went online and I set up a Chevy 1500 Silverado with the diesel. And I know you like that truck as well. You and I
Yes.
both agree that
Yeah.
that was a really good truck. And I was able to bring it to about the same price as your truck. So why didn't you buy that one?
Well, I think it has to do with a couple of things. One thing that I already mentioned, I had Chevy trucks before, but also speed. So the diesel is great. The diesel gets better fuel efficiency on the highway.
does indeed.
We know that. We've tested that. But the diesel has 277 horsepower. And it has a diesel quality where it accelerates good initially, but then kind of slightly
It does
falls
fall
off.
off a cliff after a while.
This should not do that. This has a twin turbo V6 with high end power, so the power goes all the way up to the red line, which is around 6,000, 6,500 RPM. So that was one of my big things. And also city driving. Like you said, we do a little bit of city driving too,
Yeah.
because coming to work and home. And diesels, you know, don't do quite as well in the city They do really well on the highways, but not quite as good as this in the city.
I think there might be another part of that, which is I think you've had a belly full of diesels, at least owning them.
Yeah, I've had
that thing costs you a lot of money.
And also, some people may have a question, why didn't I buy like a heavy duty truck, right? Because that's also an option.
Indeed.
And like I said, 6,000 pound boat, maybe like a bed rack system, maybe with a tent. That's the extent of my usage for now.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to bring a giant trailer with me, or I didn't want to have a big camper. So I did not need a heavy duty truck.
So you didn't need to overkill it, you know, with something that just is grossly more than capable.
Right. So in the end, the sticker price on this truck, and we can continue talking a little bit more about it, was $52,000.
Okay.
Which seems crazy for an XL, doesn't it?
It does, but you know, considering what you added to it, you have actually what's weird is that the more expensive option would be the diesel that Ford provides. Am I correct? That diesel, which is crazy because it's...
Ford does have a diesel also.
Yeah, they have their V6 diesel, which is available for the F-150. That one, we've all agreed, and we've done other videos where it's okay, but it doesn't compete to the one that GM builds. That's just a better one.
Yeah.
And but it's really expensive.
It's about $500 more than this hybrid.
Than the hybrid system.
Yes.
Yet the hybrid offers so much more.
Including the big inverter generator system and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I really got this truck. You're probably going to ask me about Rams next.
Yes.
And Toyotas and Nissans.
Without a doubt.
Oh, what's next?
Okay, well, let's just cover those three because I have a feeling I know why Ram. Probably because you don't think of the e-torque system as being particularly good.
Well, so you know what I was thinking this morning? That e-torque kind of should have been what this is.
I agree.
You know, from the beginning.
From the very beginning, it should have been this effective.
So here's what e-torque is, right? So Ram introduced this in 2019, which was about 2 years ago now.
Yep.
And the e-torque system also uses an electric motor to help the gas engine, right? But the e-torque system doesn't allow the Ram trucks to drive only on electricity.
Not at all.
It just assists the engine.
Kind of just to push you off the line a little tiny bit. It does not make the truck any faster. And it's supposed to help fuel mileage. Basically, think about it this way. When you're accelerating from a standstill, that is when you're using a lot of fuel to make, you know, a 5,000 or 6,000 pound truck move. So by having a little electric push, just getting you moving, it should help a little bit with gas mileage, and we've had mixed results.
Yeah, and real world, we had a Ram Rebel with this system for over a year, and we didn't see real world benefits.
Really wasn't
It was cool. I mean, it had start-stop, it was very smooth, it had all that stuff, but it wasn't quite as effective as this.
Not even close.
25% of my drive was electric.
Right.
You know, that's not that's not what e-torque is about.
Right.
That was kind of it.
So that was sort of your main thing.
Yeah, that was.
I had a feeling.
That was related to fuel efficiency. Right?
Okay, so let's move on to Toyota because I know you like the Tundra.
Yes.
And you could buy for 50 grand a really good Tundra.
I could almost buy a TRD Pro.
You probably could. You might be able to negotiate.
Not quite, but maybe. Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. But I mean, you could get a hell of a lot of truck for that much dough from Toyota. Now, granted, your efficiency will drop.
So that was a big thing with my wife, right? The efficiency thing.
Oh, yeah.
And as much as I love the Tundra, and you know what? I'm very excited about the next Tundra.
Yeah, me too.
Even though we know almost nothing about it officially.
Yeah, with a lot of rumors out there.
Yeah, we think it might be a hybrid too. But I needed a truck this year. I can't wait another year or two for the next Tundra to come around. But the Tundra, I was leaving the Hummer at 11 mpg. And my wife was wanting something more than 11 mpg. And the Tundra is rated at about 14 combined, right?
Yeah,
to 15.
there you go.
So that was a step up.
Right.
But still, I couldn't convince her on this fuel efficiency thing.
So I'd imagine that kind of falls right into the Nissan Titan as well, which is more efficient than the Tundra.
It is.
But it's not even close to what the Ford is doing with the hybrid.
Yeah, and also, the techie thing was playing into it. The Titan is really great.
Yeah.
We both agree.
Yes.
Great sounding V8 engine. The new interior is really great.
Yeah. It's all around very competent vehicle.
Yeah, but once again, the techie part in me, with the inverter system on the Ford and kind of the power that it offers, I kind of leaned against the Ford.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
What?
This is a new hybrid system. It has not been tested for a long period of time. Now, granted, we know that Ford has been testing this system for years and years, building up to actually, doing production. However, usually buying the first year of any all new model, all new engine, all new transmission, sometimes there can be glitches. So you are aware of the fact, of course, that can be you, right? I mean, so you're going to be hyper aware of that. Now, Andre is hyper aware of a lot of things. Often, when he goes out to do a shoot, he'll sometimes sit out there with a micrometer to make sure that the camera is exactly at the right angle. And, so when it comes to this truck, if it hiccups or makes any sound that you are not expecting, I expect you to freak out, pull some hair out, and
let you know.
And let me know.
Yeah.
So you guys, you're along for the ride as well, because we're going to find out whether or not this all new tech, and it is all new tech for Ford, is worth it. I'm thrilled about the numbers. I loved testing the truck, so I'm very happy for you. And also, by the way, guys, I don't care if you don't agree with me. That blue is probably the best blue I've seen on a pickup truck. Period. It looks. It's epic.
It's Velocity Blue.
Velocity Blue.
And that's what Ford calls it. And you know what was interesting about this? When I was first ordering it in July of last year, the Velocity Blue was not on the list. And I was really bummed. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And, they had the antimatter blue.
Yeah, I know which one that's.
Yeah, it's very dark. The new Raptor was unveiled in antimatter blue.
And but this is a slightly lighter hue.
This is way brighter. Yeah. It's bright, it's vibrant, and not that I wanted to stand out too much, but I didn't want like a dark black truck. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
So in September, I think, I was, calling a deal. I'm like, where's my truck?
Yeah.
It's been a couple months. Tell me about it. They're like, no news yet.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the sheet again, and it said Velocity Blue is now available to order. I'm like, boom, called the dealer and said, change my order, make it Velocity Blue.
And they were able to do that?
And they did.
Did they bump the price on you or anything like that?
No, it was the same price.
Oh, that's great.
So that was cool, and finally I got this truck 6.5 months later.
Okay, now to be fair, Ford isn't the only one that had to go through this really lengthy process. Obviously with COVID and everything that's gone on, almost every automaker out there, truck maker out there, has had to slow down considerably in order to get these, especially these special orders, to get them out. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's the caveat. I think that under normal circumstances, it would have taken half that amount of time. That's my guess.
I don't know. So this was my first all-new vehicle purchase, and actually my first order. Usually when I bought the last all-new vehicle I bought was a 2002 VW Golf diesel.
Yes, which you still have.
Actually, I just sold it to a friend.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pouring one out
for I sold it to a friend, which means it's still, I know where it is, so I can go visit.
You can go visit and pat its hood and everything else.
Yeah, and I actually just talked to my friend Patrick, who purchased it, and I was like, well, how's the battery? Is the battery draining? He's like, no, Andre, I go out every day, and I start it. So I'm like, boom, my Golf is taken care of.
It's being babied to a certain degree, which is great.
And I purchased that car by going to the dealer, and I saw it on the lot, and I was like, I wanted that one. But this one was a pre-order. So I ordered
your very first pre-order.
Yeah, it was the first thing I did. And this was a new process for me. I had no idea how long it was going to take, what it was going to be like. I was a little nervous because I didn't see the truck. Like you're trying to buy something you never see, you've never seen.
Yeah, it's a terrifying process.
And it's expensive.
Yes.
So
it's a lot of money.
It was hard. And then, like you said, your point about this is the first year of the new powertrain.
Right.
All this stuff. I'm very aware of that, obviously. So far, no hiccups, even in the cold weather. Right. I was kind of worried about, engines shutting off in cold weather and coming back on, but so far it's been pretty good.
One thing I remember seeing in the past is Ford likes to do cold weather testing, and they like to let people know that they're doing cold weather testing.
Yeah, it's part of their marketing.
It's part of their marketing thing. So they have like a special hangar that they go into. It's actually in Florida, I think, the place.
Oh yeah, Ian, our videographer.
Yeah, Ian had to do that.
He did that once with a Super Duty.
That's right.
In Florida. Believe it or not,
Of all places.
this is in the Panhandle. There's like a military base, I think Air Force base. I'm forgetting a few details, but they have this big hangar where they test cold weather temperatures, like -40.
Right. Super cold.
Type temperatures. And he went in there because Ford invited us there to show how the Super Duty was tested before the Super Duty came out.
Right.
And he went into the first room where it was like -25 before you get to the next room. And his camera started to like freak out. The screens were shutting off.
Yeah,
and
batteries were being
sucked out. So it's like the cameras were like failing, basically.
Yeah.
And these trucks, of course, are there and they're being started, right? Started up and down. So that's pretty tough.
It is, and once again, Ford likes to let everybody know that is one of the ways that they test in cold weather. And for those of you who do not live in North America, you may not understand this, but we've hit a major cold front. Now, it's not a big deal for Coloradans, we're used to cold, but for the rest of the country, having a truck like this that is filled with electronics, and it really is, your truck is absolutely loaded with electronics. The fact that it starts and runs with no problem being in sub-freezing temperatures, that's impressive.
Yeah, and there's another thing, the techie thing that came into play here. I have a 12 Pro iPhone, a new phone. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
Yes, you are, and I got a 10. So shut up.
I'm just saying I love to be on the bleeding edge of technology.
Yeah.
And I have a Ford Pass app. And why is it a big deal? Well, it's kind of cool. Well, first of all, I don't have push button start. It's an actual key that I have to put in the truck. But I can start my truck from my phone sitting here in the studio.
So you don't have a key fob, but you can use your phone and start the truck.
Yes, from anywhere.
From anywhere.
Yes, using the app.
So if you're on a trip, once we start traveling again, and your truck is in the driveway, you can screw around with your family and just start it for the hell of it.
Yes, I could. Or if you, for example, if you borrowed it and you parked it in your house, I could play with it and I could turn the lights on.
Are you able to shut it off with your phone?
Yes.
So if I'm driving it, do you think it'll shut off?
No, I don't think
it probably has a safety feature preventing.
That would be really bad.
Funny.
That would be really bad. Big
funny.
Brother
Well,
type stuff.
People are concerned about that nowadays, aren't they?
They are. But that was also a techie part that I liked because I looked at Chevy. Their app also exists. The Ram app is there, the Nissan app, and the Toyota app. But it looked like right now for trucks, the Ford app offered more features. I can check my fuel level, my tire pressure level. I can check if I'm using the truck to charge something else, like powering a coffee maker, for example, or a campsite. I can check the status of the charger on my phone.
Right.
That's kind of cool, dude.
No, that's extremely cool.
That.
Tech is one of those things where it's really cool when everything is working right.
So when it doesn't.
But when it doesn't work,
Yes.
and that's kind of the thing that always kind of brings me back to the table is like, the less tech, maybe the better. It depends on the person, of course. So in your case, and I think, as we start to wind this down, Andre, the truck guy, as some people like to call him, Baby Truck, or Mr. Truck Jr. Mr. Toe. No, but he found that out of all the trucks he could have chosen, he went for Ford, and he went for specifically the Ford Hybrid in the lowest trim he could afford with the goodies that he wanted.
Yeah, and in the end, and I would agree with you if you're saying, $52,000 for an XL truck, which is a lot of dough. I agree. But when you break it down and you see the technology that it offers, the hybrid system was $4,500.
Right.
The four-wheel drive system was $3,000 or $4,000. The towing package was $1,000, and on and on and on. It all adds up, right? So, yeah, I wish I would have had this truck in the low 40s, but I wanted all the tech. So this is what I got.
Under the circumstances, and I think some people will agree out there, when you go online and you start loading up your truck, even if you get the base model and you start adding things, you're also going to start going into the 40s and then hovering. Hell, I started outfitting a Jeep Gladiator just for the heck of it, seeing, if I really wanted this, that, and the other. And I was near $50,000 by the time I was done.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even fully loaded. And that's a smaller truck. So I totally get where you're coming from. And what I'm curious about now is what you're going to do with the truck and what your plans are with the truck.
Yeah,
going to do a lift? Big tires.
Big tires.
Not initially.
So here's where I am. So partially, this is going to be kind of a public thing, right? Because we want to do several more videos with this truck.
Of course.
People, and Roman has thrown this around.
I'm sure Roman had. Roman had nothing to do with this purchase. This is all Andre.
Well, Roman wants, and I also want to race this truck against the Raptor again.
Oh yeah.
So because why not? And also Roman said he was going to bring the TRX. This truck is not going to be the TRX.
No, it's not going to beat the
But
TRX.
why
Come on.
not? We could try.
No. But
Yeah.
let's race it anyway. I mean, it might be. Even
might
if
be
it
closer.
loses, if it's closer, that would be huge. And you know what? That last hybrid was really fast.
Yeah. So that towing, I do want to do another MPG loop with a trailer and without a trailer. So I want to figure out, and this is also a long-term test.
Very long-term.
Yeah, because I own it.
Right.
So I want to leave it alone, like without serious mods, for at least 10, 12 months. This sounds like a long time, but but I want to have a year with it. Because if I modified it, if I lifted it, or if I, changed the grill or changed the wheels and tires and did something else to it, tuned it, then something went wrong. I couldn't point the finger at what did that.
Right. So you want to keep it absolutely stock just to make sure everything is good for the year.
At least first year. And of course, you know me, I love changing wheels and tires. I want to do a leveling kit on it because the nose, I think, is too low. It kind of looks like a work truck because it is a work truck.
Well, it is a work truck.
But the new Tremor F-150 is coming out with a slight lift and leveling kit. Why couldn't they use that on this truck? I mean, I probably could.
Not only that, but you have an adjustable chin spoiler on that. Technically,
I have a double chin. Yes.
Yeah. And we just recently shot a video with this on our old 2004 F-150, and the approach angle difference is huge. This has a very low approach angle, and I think part of the reason why has to do with aerodynamics in order to make it efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. All new trucks are getting lower and lower chins.
Right.
And of course, that's not great for off-roading, like you're saying. But still, so a slight lift. I want a bigger tire on it. The current Scorpions are great.
37s.
But no.
Yeah.
That would require a big lift.
Yeah.
But right now it's almost a 32.
Okay.
Which is okay if you're talking about a mid-sized truck.
Yeah.
But this is a full-blown truck.
Those are little tires.
Little coasters.
Yeah.
But it could make it quick. Those tires could make it quick.
Yeah, and not only that, but the lack of rolling resistance and everything else is going to make it more efficient.
Yeah, so I want to keep it. I want to add some storage to the truck, so I'm going to be doing some storage boxes inside and maybe out in the bed.
Do you have a bed liner on that one?
Yeah, it is. It was. It was.
Damn, I wanted to test out the whole denting it. You remember
those
you wanted to drop commercials?
You wanted to drop a toolbox?
Yeah. I guess now it doesn't matter. Damn.
Maybe in a few months. Drop something.
Well, it's already lined. I mean,
I know.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, and so it's going to be a long-term test. Off-road. A lot of you guys out there asked me to take it off-road.
Yes, please.
So I will.
Oh, all right.
But in a stock form.
Well, yeah, I am curious to see how it does. I'm curious if you put it into its rock crawl mode or whatever that is. I wonder if it takes the chin and lifts it a little bit. If it takes that spoiler and lifts it up.
Well, I don't think it actually lifts the plastic piece that you see in the images, but what it does, it prevents it from coming down.
Okay, so it prevents it from dropping.
Yeah, even if you're driving faster off-road, like let's say you're approaching 30, 35 miles an hour, because you're in the off-road mode, it won't lower the chin because it knows you're off-roading. Okay. So at least that's a plus. That's a plus, at least. But yeah, so
there you go.
Anyway, what else was I going to say? I have rubber floors.
That's right. You have vinyl floors.
Yes.
Yeah, he went full blown hard-working cowboy truck. Proper cowboys like an interior that can be hosed out because horse bucket gets into the cab.
What if you have manure on your boots?
That's what I'm saying. And so if vinyl doesn't matter. You spray it off and everything's fine. This truck will smell like a rose in a day.
I don't know. If I actually got manure. Our friend David up north, near Fort Collins, he's a yak farmer.
Yeah, he likes the yaks.
So that's a lot of manure up there.
It is indeed. And you got to bring that up there. He's got to see this truck, and I'm curious to what his take is, because he's an old school guy.
Oh, you know what? He has all the power tools.
Oh, yeah, so we can plug them all in there.
Yeah, we can all plug them in. And he also has a trail up on the mountainside where a lot of trees fell down. there was a fire recently there.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
a lot of trees just were down by the fire.
Right.
And why not? Why couldn't we chop them
Go
up?
up there and plug it into your truck and then chop those little things down if he has some plug-in stuff. And on top of that, he's a Chevy guy, so I'm curious to see how. Yeah.
He's gonna hate this one.
Well, I don't know. I think he's going to find its tech pretty interesting, and then he's going to make
He'll
fun
like
of
the
it.
vinyl floors.
That he's going to like. Yeah, without a doubt. Well, guys, thank you for joining. I'm really curious to what your take is on the expensive yet fairly logical truck that Andre bought. We'd love to read your comments below.
Yeah, and of course it's also on the website and the TFL Truck channel, so you can see it there.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.